it in there.
Okay.
And
So-
worst case scenario, it's, well, the CCC already told us that. Great, well, then you meet our regulations.
Okay. Will you be putting together a?
Yeah, I'll be
Okay,
putting together
okay.
something.
So we can take a look at it. Good. I mean, other than that, I would definitely want fire input.
Yeah. And then we would run this through the same special permit process that we do with everything else, and all of those folks see all of that and have the opportunity to comment.
Okay.
And with the security plan, we'd be looking for police and fire to comment on that anyway, for a variety of different reasons.
Okay. Then yeah, as far as the zoning goes, I think it should stay in the. I think you might have problems in the commercial as well, like Tanner was saying.
Yeah,
Especially
I-
the mixed uses that we're trying to promote in certain areas. And half of it's not on sewer.
Sure.
You have septic issues and everything else.
Plus, our commercial, industrial is the closest to the Route 2 primary access.
Yep. So it's convenient.
Which I think for processing is important. I think for testing is probably important, but maybe a little bit less so.
Sounds good. Any further discussion?
Is that good feedback?
I think so.
Okay.
All right, then we will wrap that up and move on to our next item is Settler Solar, 994 Northfield Road, stormwater permit.
So we've heard all about Settler Solar, and we're aware of all their proposals, and the project was approved at our last meeting. There was some comments or questions about the stormwater special permit, so you got a draft decision which was followed up about 2 hours ago with comments from town council that did a little bit of cutting and pasting of some of the stuff that you had, mostly deleting duplicitous conditions from the solar special permit and just doing a little bit of renumbering to ensure that there's some consistency there. I think what I heard from the board at the last meeting was there was some concern about abutters on the southern side of the project along Northfield Road and the impact of stormwater along their rear property lines. And I think the solution that the board was looking for was an extension of the erosion control barrier from the end of the existing proposed barrier to the end of the property line of, I believe Mr. Smith owns the rearmost property, but that would just give an extra line of protection from any potential sediment that came down. And I think that the other thing that I've heard the board say consistently is they're looking to ensure that the project is monitored throughout construction. This was a condition that the Conservation Commission placed. They've retained the services of Thomas Christopher, who is a site inspection and site development professional who lives in the town of Lancaster, who has just a ton of experience on reviewing and monitoring and constructing sites very similar to this, large open sites that have erosion and sedimentation control that needs to be monitored and is adjacent to wetlands. So rather than have two professionals out there, I would recommend that the board pass their decision along to Mr. Christopher and have the Conservation Commission and the Planning Board all monitored by one person. It's convenient and efficient for the applicant. It's convenient and efficient for the town. This gentleman is very well respected and has a very lengthy CV of making sure that projects are done in a way that is appropriate and safe. And not to mention, he is himself a planning board and conservation commission member in his community. So he understands both sides of it. He's done work for applicants and developers as well as for communities.
Great, can we call him out somewhere in
Sure.
the final draft?
So, under special conditions, the second one down, I don't have the correct number, but it says the planning board will retain the services of a construction monitor. We can put Thomas Christopher as construction monitor to be funded by the applicant.
That's the third one down on my list.
Yeah, there was some edits that were made,
Okay.
removing 15, so. Bless you.
Thank you. On the final page?
Yes.
Is that where it is?
Yes, it is. So on the copy I renumbered for you
Yes.
to share, it would be
yeah.
number 10.
Okay, thank you. Yep. Yeah, good luck. I think he's going to explain that. Can you walk us through all these edits?
If you would like.
Yes, please.
So, in reviewing it, council felt that condition 3 and 4 didn't need to be in there.
Town council said it.
Correct.
3 and 4.
Condition 5 becomes condition 3. 6 becomes 4.
Because, is that because they're duplicative?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
7 becomes 5, and construction is replaced with the word work. And then the building permit language is struck from nor to hereunder.
That does appear in our regular.
Yes, it appears in the special permit for the site plan.
Okay.
The pre-construction conference is struck since it's already happening.
Okay.
9 becomes 6, 10 becomes 7, 11 becomes 8, 12 is struck.
Should the applicant fill the systems?
That's just the general conditions of a special permit?
Correct.
Yeah.
And 13 is also struck. You know, that was done without comment, so I can't speak to his thought process.
Okay.
And I think the entire permit speaks to what was initially 13, so.
And the rest just get renumbered?
Correct. Well, 15 doesn't appear on the copy he sent to me, so I inferred that that was also struck since it was renumbered 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
That's probably a condition of the Conservation Commission?
And I mean,
Well, we're
it's in their construction sequencing as well.
And we've added in about the barrier anyway, right? The additional barrier.
Correct.
So
Correct.
Where are you going to add that in, or did you already?
Number 9 covers that condition.
It was 14.
Well, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, and that will say extended. Okay. Okay. And then just,
Oh, I'm sorry. He combined those two.
oh, is that what you did?
Yeah.
Okay. And then it's 16 is 10,
Correct.
and then you just get renumbered.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. Just wasn't sure if that was me. My phone's like across the room.
So I hope this covers everything that the board has expressed in their discussion of the stormwater.
I think
You know, I think, and I think that, as we've discussed before, this is a replication of the EPA construction general permit, which requires the filing of the stormwater pollution prevention plan. It goes to EPA. If there were to be some catastrophic event, EPA would have jurisdiction to come out and, perform their own corrective actions and impose their own consequences. I don't anticipate that to be the case, especially with the board monitoring the project, but it's not and that doesn't, reverse any damage or strife caused to the neighbors because of that, but there is, an additional layer of protection through that process.
And Jeff's recommendations were all taken. right?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, so I think,
Like a motion?
I think that's what we need. We wanted to specify the monitor.
Do I have to specify all the edits or just as edited?
You can call it as edited.
We need also to
Including
add the person tomorrow.
Yes. Well, I would consider that one of the edits.
Yeah, okay. I move we accept the stormwater special permit dated November 5th, 2018 with edits as discussed.
Okay, Marjorie?
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All set?
Sounds such.
All right, thanks.
So everyone will be in Wednesday to sign that?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Can be.
Possible to get a copy of that draft?
Right now, no.
It's ugly.
I don't mind ugly.
I can send you a copy of the draft tomorrow when I get it all finished up. You guys are on pace for the fastest meeting ever.
We are moving. Clicking sticks, pal.
So we've got two sets of minutes to approve. 10/22/18.
I move we accept the minutes from 10/22/18.
Second. Aye.
Aye. I move we accept the minutes from 10/22/18 board warrant articles.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, streaming right along. The committee reports. We will need to get somebody for Green Communities Task Force when we reorganize, or?
Only if you want a liaison to that position. Because Greg was a member independently, and he performed the liaison duties for the planning
But
board.
didn't he also step down from Green Communities?
He did, but we're not responsible for providing a member to Green Communities.
They have-
That was something that Greg decided that I'm going to be at their meetings anyway, they need a member, I'll volunteer to be a member.
Okay.
I noticed that, Mr. Chairman, that I noticed that they placed an ad in last week's
Sentinel, or
Nope.
Ledger?
Ledger. Yep. So they are actively searching for one.
Did they specify any requirements?
A pulse and living in town.
Excellent, excellent, that's always a plus.
And an interest.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we think? Do we think that we need a liaison to Green Communities Task Force?
I would say it's premature from what I heard from Greg. I don't think we really need one yet until they actually start moving on stuff.
Does anybody have an overwhelming desire to be such? Okay. Why don't we leave it open until we get 5 people in a room?
Yeah.
And we can make an intelligible decision?
Yeah.
Good. Capital planning, they are meeting tomorrow. Stormwater Task Force, we met to discuss BMP's best management practices. We met with our consultants, and it was rather short and pretty much just rehashing what we had done. We did find that we did not receive the 319 grant that we had applied for the Upper Mulpus, which was saddening, but we didn't have it on the agenda for discussion, so we did not discuss it. I believe it's going to be on the next agenda. The Agricultural Commission has not met since our last meeting. However, there was an agricultural event that went on this past weekend that was very well attended. And I want to thank everybody who was there. So I want to choose a Joint Transportation Commission?
That's Ken.
That's Ken.
Okay. Open Space.
Open space, we are meeting Wednesday at 7:30. I believe we're at the Ritter again.
Talking trail maps.
Talking trail maps. Talking not just trail maps, all kinds of maps, pal. So, I see that somebody sent this. Did someone send this? Oh no, that's mine from. I don't know what that's doing in here. I thought that was sent over from them. They will be. Well, eventually we will be getting a working copy together, and I'm sure it'll go out to everybody, to all the different boards for feedback and input.
I expect you'll be looking for a letter of support from
yes,
each board.
Yes, we would hope to get a letter of support from each board, especially since it's got to go, to the up to the next level for approval. And I see that we have a talent bank form for Ashley Mallet. Or is that what it says?
Mm-hmm.
Millette? Yeah, Millette. Did you want to cover that now? Or was that an agenda item on here?
You can do my director's item if you want.
Is it your director's item?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I'll hold off. So that's it for open space.
All right. MRPC is...
Tanner.
That's me. They met last week, did a very nice presentation on GIS, and I guess we haven't used up our 8 free hours of GIS work, so if we can think of something good to use that time for. But they actually worked with a few communities using GIS to map out cemetery plots and crime statistics and stormwater infrastructure. So there's all kinds of applications that we can use their help on. My thought process was that the cemetery mapping was pretty neat. They developed an application so any of the cemetery commissioners could go out to the cemeteries, identify plots, and once they had the whole thing organized, they made it public so people could go to the cemetery commission's website, look for a plot, or look for anybody with veteran status or so on. So kind of neat stuff.
That's it. Do we need to eat those up by a certain time?
It expires the end of the calendar year.
Oh, it is end of calendar year.
okay.
Well, I know that
It's the
the
open space.
is looking to finish off the trail maps using those 8 hours.
Yep.
Yeah, we could use that.
So there you go.
All right, great.
All right, and did we get any...
We've not heard anything from our charter review representative. So I believe, I don't know that he was at the last meeting.
They are meeting?
They are meeting. There is an article on town meeting that is a report from the Charter Review Committee. I think in preparation for a series of articles at the annual town meeting.
I think they had an expert in for some reason. I don't know,
They have an expert,
but at the last meeting, yeah, talking to them about something. They were
Charter Review Committee?
Yeah, they were in there talking while we were.
A charter expert, like a lawyer?
Lockwood was there doing his presentation
Oh.
on voting.
Okay.
I think at least...
It was a former planning board member.
Oh, it was. Oh. Giving a presentation?
Sounds like it.
Which one would that be?
I believe it was on voting,
If only we had a report.
if only.
Maybe it's something we should look at when we reorganize.
That's entirely possible.
Participation is key, right?
I'll remind
what
you
we
all that
signed
I
up
only
for.
work here.
All right.
All right, wrapping that one up. Director's items, now we can hear about open space.
So, open space, at the last meeting, the board heard from the open space chair on the need to sort of shuffle the deck chairs in how the membership is comprised of that committee. And now we have a talent bank form for the open at-large seat. Ms. Millette is a scientist, per her talent bank form, and as I understand, has been attending open space
I did
meetings
meet her, yeah,
and
that's right.
participating.
Yes.
So, she's already in the process. This is a group that may ultimately transition to some other formal committee, but right now has a lifespan of about 9 to 12 months as they comprise the plan, and you're, what, 3-4 months into it already?
Oh, we're wrapping it up.
So, at this point, it's really,
We hope
it's,
to get it done by the end of the month.
oh, really? Okay. Well,
For some,
for now, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, but yeah, so you probably have another 4 months worth of, finishing the plan up, taking back comments, putting final plan together, presentations, that kind of stuff. So, it would be nice for them to have all the help that they can get while they shepherd the plan forward.
So since that is a sub to the planning board, are we looking for some action here?
Yes, you are the appointing authority.
Is also, some talk about keeping it sort of more active than it.
Well, and I think that's what I mean when I say it may sort of
Yes.
change into a different type of committee. It may go from ad hoc to sitting committee, and,
Or full-
may have a more active role in the implementation of the action plan, in identifying parcels that may be worth taking 61 action on. I mean, all of these
Yes.
things are things that an open space committee can do that historically ours has not done, based on just the makeup and sort of charge that it has been given, but there is certainly the opportunity for it to transform into something more active and,
Yes.
and more sustainable.
Exactly. I think that's our hope.
So is there a motion?
Yeah, I move that we
Appoint.
appoint Ashley to the Open Space Ad Hoc Committee as an at-large member.
Second?
Excellent. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye?
Aye. Excellent.
1 week from tomorrow, special town meeting, November 13th, 7 PM, Lunenburg Middle High School. Be there, please. We need at least 50 people, and we are almost half of the warrant, so be great for everyone to show up. Tomorrow is voting. Everyone should go out and vote. Don't care who you vote for, just vote. It's kind of what I've got for now.
Nice.
And nothing on the solar energies?
No, we're gonna have to do something with that. They're all coming and kicking the tires, so we'll see what happens with that.
All right. Notices and communications,
All been scanned.
meeting schedule.
So, as I said, next Tuesday, we're gonna meet at 6:45, town meeting 7 PM. We'll just meet in the hall, at Lunenburg Middle High. If there's nothing to meet about, just be there, and we won't even open a meeting, and we just don't have to take any minutes. The following Tuesday is the tentative date for a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen to take some action or discuss the vacancy that we currently have on the board. I believe Elaine Peterson reached out to all of you to identify if you were available that night or not. If you haven't responded to her or didn't get that email, please do respond to her or check your spam folder and let her know. November 26th, we'll be talking about marijuana craft cultivators. Again, this is sort of an odd group that will be both cultivation and processing, but all of the owners need to be Massachusetts residents. And this is one of those things where I think the Cannabis Control Commission is trying to entice local business to take part and potentially be more micro business, but we can get more into that then.
All right, so the November 20 meeting joint with the selectmen is tentative because we haven't gotten any.
I have not seen a formal application. I thought I saw a talent bank form, but to my knowledge, it has not been formally submitted. So it's tentative because I'm unaware of whether or not they've gotten a quorum to confirm, and I would imagine they can't really have a joint meeting to appoint someone if there's no applicants.
Right.
Now, will there be an interview process?
I don't know. I would expect there will be some sort of interview process. I know that the last time that we had a vacancy, there was a fairly robust interview process that involved multiple candidates and several lines of questioning over a multitude of nights. It would honestly be up to the members of each board to determine how they wanted to handle their portion of it. But to everyone out in TV land, if you think it's fun to watch us, you could be up here.
This could be you. Yeah. The reason I ask is if we're going to conduct interviews, then how does that meeting work? Like, my thought process.
It's a reasonable and logical thought process, and it changes every time, is my understanding. Because prior to my employment with the town, my understanding is there was a joint appointment, and it was fairly informal, I guess is the way I would put it, where it was a joint meeting. The two applicants came, stated their case, and there was debate at that point, and someone was appointed. And then the next appointment was the last one that was made, and that was a rather formal occasion where there was a night of interviews here at the planning board that involved a series of pre-written questions with the potential for written answers to be submitted. And then there was the joint meeting, which also included some general questioning, and then there was some deliberation and a vote. So I would guess it could be anywhere in between those two quantums, and someone, I guess, could make it even more formal than that, but
It just seems oddly imbalanced since we are the board that is missing a member and we're going in and 5 people of another board have a vote.
you know who could help you with that?
You.
The Charter Review Commission.
Ooh.
Because that is
there such a thing? You should be, no.
No, we should have a liaison, like a
Yeah,
representative on
good
Charter
idea.
Review that could represent
because that's
our concerns.
that is
And they
a
communicate back to us.
that's a charter issue that is outlined in the elected officials section of the charter, is what happens when there is a vacancy.
Just odd.
Well, if it were cemetery commission, they'd be really outnumbered.
Well, I mean, so do we get to appoint, BOS members, if, you know what I mean?
We'll find out soon, won't we?
Whack
And I guess you do technically, because it's an election.
Good point.
And I think the last time the planning board split and the BOS split on who was to be appointed, so
Yep.
it's not always a monolithic vote on each board.
So if there's any further discussion on that, our next phase is public comment. Yes, please.
Sorry. Katie Adams from Williams Drive, and I had a real public comment, but first, I'll just state that I really like consistency, especially in government, so I'd love to see a very similar process to appointment to something as to which I just went through a little over a year ago. And I invested an enormous amount of time, answered a lot of questions, written questions, sat and studied them, gave good answers, came here twice, and every time there was a member that wasn't going to be at a meeting, the vacancy was in May and we didn't appoint till August. And I was in it from the very beginning. It went on for months, and I stuck with it, and it was a lot of work. So it'll be really hard to sit up there and watch, a process be completely inconsistent. I like consistency. That wasn't really what I was going to public comment about during marijuana. I really didn't have anything to say about the specific topic, but just worried about the moratorium next week at town meeting, and make sure that I feel like people really understand that that's not a vote on yes or no for marijuana in Lunenburg. It's just a vote for time. And I think that will be said, but we could sense at the last meeting that people were getting revved up to vote yes or no on marijuana, and I don't want that to be what people think they're voting. So that's all. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Since that was the entirety of our public,
100% participation.
Yes!
there we go. Let's look at the positive side.
You guys might get out before 7:30 and 100% public comment? Wow.
The real 7:30 or the fake 7:30?
The real 7:30.
Oh, good.
Okay, so ongoing items.
Earth removal, I've got a draft that I have to finalize for you. Village at Flat Hill, still poking around. Economic development, it's happening. Be ready. Now it's on to you guys.
Okay, now it's our turn for public comment or concern.
Okay, may I? Okay. On the subject of marijuana,
Yes.
there have been a number of, and I'm not knocking their opinions, they're absolutely entitled to their opinions, I love to hear it from the public, about people saying that we already passed this, we don't need to, go back and have a vote, et cetera, et cetera. So, to satisfy myself, I went back and I found the ballot question, number 4 from 2016, and I read it, and it specifically states in there that each municipality will be given an opportunity to take a vote and say how they would like, or whether they would like or not like marijuana to be commercially developed in their town. So, I just wanted to make that clear that we're not doing, by doing that, the town isn't doing something that it's not entitled to do, or something that it hasn't been instructed to do. So, the regulations are two separate, for those
Correct.
Those who approved overwhelmingly, or just approved, and those who did not approve. I just want to make that clear. And there is if you go to Wicked Local, I want to say it's Newton, there is a map on there, an interactive map that will show you which towns have
Prohibited, regulated, moratorium. Yep.
Yeah, all that. That's just something I wanted to clear up from previous discussions with the public. I appreciate their comments, don't get me wrong. I love that they're showing up and fighting for what they want.
Excellent. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
I'm all set.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, one more other thing. Asian Imperial. So my understanding is, they're still parking there, but I think at this point, right, it's no longer their problem, it's our problem, correct? So,
If you would like, I can nudge the DPW director. I think he put those signs up in the hope that it would start the dissuasion, and he was trying to limit the disruption and interaction, but I can certainly, and I think the same thing every time I drive by and there's someone parked right in front of the sign that says "Do not park."
yeah, it's just, from a safety perspective, it really
Yep,
irritates me.
I agree.
Because I'm looking at it, and I'm no actuarial, but I'm looking at the thing going, someone's gonna get creamed. and
Yes.
Whose problem is that gonna be? So,
Well, I think ultimately it becomes theirs because the sign is up denoting that they can't park there. So, but I take,
stupid humans.
but I take your point and I will follow up with him.
Okay. Thank you. That's all.
All right. So I don't really have any comments or concerns.
Move to adjourn?
Second?
Second. Excellent. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Excellent. Thank you.
Gentlemen, you need to sign the paper A&Rs, please.
She beat me to it.
I guess so.
Look, you have to get up in the middle of the meeting to leave.